Hi, welcome to the Kitchen of Lindy Says. Today we're going to make a beautiful homemade marinara and some stuffed shells. I'm Lindy. Let's get cooking. Okay, now we're going to make a really tasty marinara sauce, and it's really simple to do. What we're going to start with is some extra virgin olive oil. We have 6 sliced cloves of garlic, and you might notice this nice garlic is really purplish. That's because it's fresh garlic from the farmer's market, and it's so different than what you're going to find in the grocery store. Get it if you can. If you can't, just use your regular garlic. And then we've got a 28-ounce can of plum tomatoes in juice. You can buy your tomatoes already crushed or chopped, but I like to do it myself because they have to put whole tomatoes in here, which means they have to use the best tomatoes they have. A little bit of pepperoncinis, and then we have our pepper, freshly ground pepper, and some basil. This is about 8 leaves of basil, which we will chiffonade. So here's our basil in a chiffonade, and as you all probably know, a chiffonade simply means really thinly sliced. This little saucepan. We're going to heat this up over a medium-low heat. Whenever you're working with these stainless steel pans, make sure you don't use too high a heat, and make sure you allow your pan to get hot before you add the oil or the food to it. That will help you keep it from sticking to the bottom, which is one of the biggest complaints people have about these pans. You can feel when it's warm. Yes, that's warm. Ow. Okay, be careful with that. And now you want to add your oil. We're going to add about 1/4 cup of oil. Make sure that gets hot as well. I'm not sticking my finger in that. So now that the oil's hot, I'm going to add my garlic and just get that started. Flavor the oil. Already smells good. There's nothing smells better than garlic and olive oil sauteing together. And then I'm going to add my tomatoes. Now you can break these up in a couple of ways. You can use a couple of spoons to break it up, or some forks. If you wanted to, before you poured them in, you could have used your hands. I wouldn't recommend doing that once they're in the pot. Or I'm going to use a potato masher and just mash them up as they start to cook. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit of a simmer going, we are going to use this high-tech piece of equipment to start smashing, and smashing until we get these tomatoes all broke up into a fine sauce. You could also do this in a blender or a food processor if you were so inclined. I just don't find it necessary to really dirty up a whole other piece of equipment. But hey, it's your house, it's your dishes, do what you want. We've got them into a nice sauce consistency. I stirred in the basil, the red pepper flakes or pepperoncini, and some salt. About a nice pinch of salt, because as Lindy says, you can always add salt, but you can't take it back out. And a nice couple turns of pepper. And we're going to just let this simmer for about 20 minutes and let it get real sauce-like. So to some salted boiling water, add your large pasta shells. Turn the heat down and boil them very, very gently. Because they have a tendency to break, you want to keep the heat low. We're going to cook these for about 2 to 3 minutes less than the package says, because they will continue to cook in the sauce once we make our dish. Marinara sauce is ready. The shells are cooked. Now we're going to get on to the filling part of the program. We're going to start with a little extra virgin olive oil, as we always do. I used olive oil or grapeseed oil almost exclusively. These are about 3/4 a cup, maybe half a cup of diced onions. Go for a cup, you know, I mean, it's all a matter of taste. About half as much of diced carrots. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of Jerry Seinfeld's wife, who, you know, hides vegetables in food. Carrots are naturally sweet, and while my son wouldn't eat many fruits or vegetables, carrots with some salt sliced up, he would always eat. Natural sweetness. You don't have to add sugar to your sauce if you're using some carrots. Then here I have a mixture of ground lean turkey, which is the original recipe. To this one I've added about 1/4 pound of some Italian sausage, hot sausage that I had in the ice box, which I wanted to use up, and I thought it would make a nice combination. Here is a mixture of 2 tablespoons of flour, 1 tablespoon of oregano, and a good pinch of hot peppers, pepperoncinis. This is a combination of Reggiano Romano and Asiago cheeses grated together. You could use either one or both, so your choice. So I've got my pan going over a medium-low heat. Again, stainless steel. We want to heat up the pan before we add the oil and the food so it doesn't stick. I'm going to start by adding some extra virgin olive oil. Use a good brand. This is a very good brand. Add your onions. Give them a good saute. And then we are going to add our meats. We're going to cook these, breaking them up with the spoon, just until they lose their pink color. We're not going to brown them. We're cooking them over a low heat. For about 7 minutes. You can see it is mostly gray. I've been stirring it, breaking it up with my spoon, because you want the pieces to be small in the shells. You definitely don't want them to be too big. And this is about perfect. I hate to say it's cooked to a perfect gray, because to me gray meat sounds horrid. But in this application, it's actually proper. In this and many other Italian dishes, you want the meat to only gray. You don't really want it to brown. So to this now, I am going to add our flour, oregano, and red pepper flakes, and mix that in. Now by mixing it in now, you won't have any lumps. You don't have to worry about the flour getting lumpy when you add the wine. And you're going to cook it for a little while to cook off that raw flour taste. So give it a few minutes, stir it in really, really well. And our red wine, this is a dry red wine. Now remember what I've always said, don't cook with anything you wouldn't drink. But if you like a wine that is really oaky and sweet, try to buy something a little leaner. You want to buy a wine that is got some fruit and some tartness to it. So a dry red wine. This is Italian, so a Chianti, a Sangiovese would both be good choice. So you just add this. This is about 6 ounces. Our meat has cooked. It's cooled. We've added about 1/2 of our cheese to it. And we're about ready to start stuffing our shells and making this delicious meal. Shells all stuffed, and because I cooked them so gently, only one broke. So I have these wonderful shells to make something. They're really good fried, so you can do that. And now I'm going to put the sauce over the top of them. The rest of the sauce, which we made, the marinara sauce, is delicious. Put that over the top. Your family's going to love this. This is so good. Aluminum foil over the top. Seal it up well. And we're going to stick it into a 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes. And we'll uncover it, put some more cheese on the top, and cook it for another 5 minutes. It should be hot and bubbly and lovely. For about 15-20 minutes, you want to put the cheese on it. You want it nice, hot, and bubbly. Put the additional cheese on top of it, and we're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes before we serve it. We're going to put our plates in the oven because serving on hot plates just makes sense. It keeps the food hot. We're going to take these now, and we're going to spoon them out on our plate. 3 of them is a good serving. See how this thing tastes. I'm liking the addition of the Italian sausage to this. It's not quite cooking light, but it's not cooking heavy either. So I can't wait to try this with pancetta.